Altenberg in Germany, south of the city of Dresden, close to the border with the Czech Republic. A former DDR secret test track, and now the venue for the 2020 BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Championships, presented by Idealversicherung. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the very first heat of the season's climax. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me, John Morgan. John, from the day this track opened, it was designed to be the toughest on the planet, and in some eyes, it still is.
Well, Martin, I was here for the first major event in 1987, and the persona of this track has not changed one bit. We've had a lot of action in practice. The track just has gremlins all over it. Any place on this track, you can get yourself into trouble. We just went through curve one. They call it the Benish curve. Matthias Benish, World Cup for a competitor for Germany. He crashed in that curve at one time. And here we are down on the, look at these beautiful pictures from our crew, down in the labyrinth section. And this is where it's pretty flat up here, Martin. It doesn't get a lot of speed till right about now. Curve 9, you start to rocket long straightaway to one of the tightest Kreisel 360-degree whip arounds that exist. And look at the flag right there. That flag, when you see that flag, you better get out of the curve quick, because if you don't, you're going to be on your helmets. 11, 12, maybe the toughest two-corner combination. They call it a snake for good reason. 14, you can roll into that curve. Uphill a little bit here. A lot of action here. You can't just say you're almost through, because down on the speed part of the track, over 80 miles an hour. Boy, the track has got challenges every place, Martin, and believe me, all the athletes at the top of the track know it.
Yeah, these three World Championships, with Whistler last year, with Altenberg this year, with Lake Placid next year, they're all tracks where drivers just take that extra kind of moment to focus before they go down for the first time, for every time, because they are real drivers' tracks. And as you say, we've had a lot of crashes in practice from the women and for the men. Our first World Championship weekend starts today with women's bobsleigh, the first two heats. They'll have two further heats tomorrow. Men will start the two-men race tomorrow, and that will conclude on Sunday. And then in the second week of competition here in Altenberg, men and women's skeleton, and the four-man bobsleigh and the skeleton team race as well. So lots and lots of sliding here. And John, on Wednesday and Thursday in training, middle of the week, there were as many people watching training as you would normally get for a regular weekend. So the folks here at Altenberg have spent a lot of time and effort in the last year really promoting this World Championships hard. We're going to see big crowds.
Martin, I was here in 87. There was a crowd of about 18,000 people here for the first event they ever staged on this track when they let the Westerners in. Back then it was the DDR. Here's our start list.
Yeah, so we have 20 sleds from 14 nations. All of them will complete 4 runs, if they complete the 4 runs, and the total time for all 4 runs will decide our winners, our medalists, and all the other positions. So the key here, get down. Do not have a problem today.
Hey, our NASCAR friends in the United States, you can identify this track as Darlington. The track, they say, is too tough to tame. I'm sure F1, they've got a few tracks that are too tough to tame also.
There are a few. We get our World Championships underway here in Altenberg, Germany, with Yingqing and Zhu Jianyi of China. Martin Haven and John Morgan trackside in Altenberg, watching the action.
Martin Schilling had 2 starts last year, finished 13th in the World Championships. She finished 8th in Calgary. This year, she's done pretty well. She's continued to expand her knowledge of all the tracks.
Talked to the coaches this morning about the Chinese girls, and the absolute key here is to get all 4 trips. You'll see a lot of sleds skidding around on fatter runners, which cause less friction and are quicker. The Chinese will be running on thinner runners. They want their girls to finish the World Championships.
15 crashes in training this week, not one of them a Chinese sled. And there's a lot of Chinese sleds. That's the line you need. Look at the way she came out of there, perfect. Now 14, she can't hit the wall on the right. No, that's perfect. If you hit that wall on the right out of 14, you're gonna roll into it.
third World Championships for Yingqing. She was in Whistler last year. She was in Winterberg the year before. Where am I talking about? Koenigsegg the year before. So it's her third World Championship start. So she's starting to really get used to this 4-race format, and that's what makes the World Championships different. The track is the same as it would be in any other race, but 4 heats. You have to maintain that focus overnight. You've got to keep your consistency. This rewards speed and consistency.
And she's been consistent all year. Her best finish was 8th in Eagles. Now watch the line here. This is a couple double pressures. There's a second pressure down. Now watch the way the sled climbs very quick here at the end. That's right where that red flag is, right there. That's the perfect line. Watch her exit. Look at the runner tips. Well, this is out of 14, a little bit farther down the track. But other than that skid right there, Martin, that it pretty typifies how the Chinese are coming down the tracks. What a steep learning curve for the Chinese program.
Well, with a crash out of last year's World Championships in Whistler, Russia's Lubov-Chernik, now 24 years old in her second Worlds. Brand new brakewoman Anna Parfenova behind, 25-year-old, has only a dozen race starts behind her.
She had a couple of crashes in practice, as you said. Best finish of the season, 4th at the opener, or last year was 4th at the opener in Sigulda. That was her best finish ever, Martin. And you know, one of the other Russian sleds will not compete today. Yep. There was 3. She crashed out yesterday, and they're holding her back.
Yeah, Elena Osipenko crashed out of the Worlds last year, and she gashed her knee in a crash yesterday. She won't compete. Lubov-Chernik 300s behind at the start, 600s back now. When you can see the numbers in the reds, that means she's still behind. And
takes your breath away.
Late out of Tudai onto that long straight. That is going to really cost her time. Exit of the Kreisel is safe.
Nice. Crossover, a little rough. Now watch this curve here, the right side of your screen. Perfect. She taps that wall in the entrance to 14. She's going to roll into the curve.
Ooh, long skid there as well. Big hit on the inside.
Losing more time back. Second place. She's going to be 3/4 back here. There it is.
4300s back. That is a long way after one heat. She shakes her head as well she might.
Well, she got to the bottom. Listen, she's been on the wrong side of the track, upside down a few times this week. So it's ladies against the mountain, man against the mountain. That's what the sport used to be. Yep. And you certainly have that challenge here in Altenberg. Up top, look at the exit there.
Watch the runners there. She really hauled it off. Look how hard she's steering. Really steers hard late.
That's out of 9.
Yeah.
Again, one of the many gremlins on the track. Curve 9. Kreisel 11, 12, 13, 14. Here down on the bottom, you sort of relieve yourself. You're through 14, and all of a sudden, you still got 250 meters of high speed.
So there is Lubov-Chernik, lies in second position, but 4/10 back. Next up, from Italy, World Championship debut for driver Tania Vicenzino and her new brakewoman, Lucrezia Tavella. Lucrezia, 29 years old, only started in bobsleigh in November.
Two Italian teams here, but they had some challenges the first day of training. Neither one of them made it down the track, crashed. They came back the next day, Martin, and I stood at the top and looked at them, and they looked in their eyes, no fear.
No.
These ladies had no fear. They had both crashed the day before. Let's see what they can do here.
She was a little rocky and rolly there, safely out of Omega. Well, the last time we had a women's sled from Italy in bobsleigh in the top flight was before the 2006 Cesana Games, and now this year we've got 2.
Exit here, okay, now watch out here in the 11-12. Okay, now watch the right side of your screen.
Whoa.
Watch out!
Big height, and she's in trouble somehow. I thought she just about saved it, but it catches up with you in the end. She raced here in December in the Europa Cup, the second tier of sliding for the younger drivers.
She's through. She's made it through.
Yeah, and she just stayed in the sled.
Now she's going to go backwards here unless somebody finds a way to put the hook on her. Stay in the sled, ladies. Stay in the sled. Stay in that little cocoon. But Martin, that 13-14, she came out of 13 too late, crossed over, hit the wall on the entrance to 14. Then you saw the sled almost roll into the curve.
Yeah.
And then she saved it, but it was too late on the exit. But that's the track, and
well, track workers here are very experienced. You saw last weekend in Sigulda we had a number of crashes. The track workers knew exactly where to stand so they'd catch the sled before it rolled down. Here we go again.
See that watch? She's too high, too late, and watch her hit the right-hand wall. Bang! Look, off the sled, almost rolls in.
Yeah.
That's what happens here in this curve if you hit beforehand, but she's in the middle of the curve, no chance. You go in that late, she almost knows it. Look at her head, how far below her head is.
Look at the runners there on the wall. Yeah. She knows she's late, but she's already been thrown out of her seat by centrifugal force. She can't pull herself back in.
Look at these pictures down here in 15. Whoa. But you see the track crew knows not to try and save the sled and separate their shoulder, and the sled comes back to this spot here.
Yeah. Medical
Doctors immediately on them.
Dr. Eugene Byrne, who is the IBSF's concussion expert, is here this weekend. Spoke to him this morning. He was just at the Luge World Championships in Sochi, Russia last week. So he will make sure that the medical crews are well aware of what to check. There's the brake woman, Lucrezia, 29 years old, and her 33-year-old driver. And there have been crashes in training. Everybody knows it is part of the sport. It's like falling from a horse or crashing a race car. Nobody likes to see it, but everybody knows that it is possible.
And it's just not the lesser teams that crashed in training this week. There was German sleds going over, American sleds, Russian sleds, Italian, British.
Yep.
It was almost every country had somebody that had a mishap.
And if you want to know just what the athlete's attitude is to the crashes, go to the IBSF Facebook page. You'll see a little video that we shot in Innsbruck with the other Italian crew who were racing the previous weekend in La Plagne in France, crashed in both heats in the race, got back on the horse that threw them, went again, and they really well describe exactly why they do that. Again, it's the same with riding a horse, riding your bicycle when you're a kid. Yeah, you're gonna come off.
But again, I stood there after they both Italian teams had crashed the previous day. One twice, one once. One didn't go in the second run. I should have stood at the start and I looked at their eyes.
Yep.
And I was, going to see some fear. No, neither one of the drivers had any fear, and they both successfully made it down both runs yesterday in training to qualify. Wednesday, excuse me.
Yep.
And then they came down both runs. I think they each took one run yesterday. Yep. And, if there's any fear, you shouldn't be on top of the track.
Exactly right. Well, this is an unwelcome interruption in proceedings for Germany's Stephanie Schneider. Now, she's the local heroine here, and she was the silver medalist in last year's World Championships.
This year's World Cup winner.
Yep, the World Cup champion.
In a very close race with her teammate Mariana Jamanka. And Stephanie Schneider had some problems in Whistler a few years ago.
Yep.
With a lot of crashes that collarbone issues kept her out of this most of the season.
Well, don't forget, in the World Championships last year, she wanted to sit out the final day of training. The coaches said, no, you've only completed one trip and you've crashed in the other three. You have to go in the final day of training. You've got to complete 2 trips successfully. So she had a lot of crashes last year and then drove herself into a silver medal. And this is very much her home track. You can see the fan club are here, and she and Francesco Frigic, who we'll see, plus Nico Walter, who's another boy from this Altenberg Bob Club, they will be very well supported by the local fans. All the other German teams will naturally, but they are from the Bob track here. So Stephanie Schneider is definitely going to be their favourite to be the queen of the mountain. Whether or not that works out in her favour, we'll have to wait and see.
Martin, last weekend you were there in Sigulda. Unbelievable crowds. Great medal presentation of the gold medals handed out to Team Oscar Melbardis. And the crowd was unbelievable.
Yep.
But the crowds that we're going to see here in the next couple of days could rival 15,000 people.
Definitely, definitely. Really looking forward to seeing the weekend when everybody's not in the office and not working at their normal day jobs, and we get a chance to see lots of fans out. It was really nice. Loads of the local schools brought kids yesterday to watch the training. I mean, who doesn't like a day out of the classroom, right? So what about this Altenberg track then, John? We've just seen the Kreisel and exit 14, exit at corner 9. They're the real key spots.
Listen, Darlington, this is the track too tough to tame. And big boy track, big ladies track, this is a challenge. The long straightaway here, but this first curve, Matthias Benisch, the track manager, former World Cup winner for Germany, He crashed in this first curve, so they named it the Benish curve.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. What a way to get a name on a curve, you know?
Exactly, you know, humiliating for him as a local boy to crash in turn one, so they perpetrate it by keeping it.
Now watch this big sweeping Omega curve, right? You know, look at that. And then these labyrinths, you know, and then you're still accelerating. You haven't reached any kind of peak yet, but this out of curve 9, this curve 9 is the first real big gremlin. Long straightaway. This pressure point in this Kreisel, and they're saying in China they've got a Kreisel like this that they're building. It's the first Kreisel we'll see in an Olympic track since Calgary in '88. But here's where the crash just was, right here. The Italian sled banged hard there, couldn't get out of 14, up straightaway. 15, this is where, boy, 16, your speeds, 80 plus miles an hour, 140 clicks, through and down. They changed the finish from where it was in 87, 90, 2000 World Championships. They changed it, I think, for the 2008 World Championship.
Well, plus a lot of the track is covered now. You know, we're looking back at the old footage, and there was no coverage. In those days, it was an outdoor sport all the way down the mountain. We still have uncovered areas, but hopefully for the next couple of days, the weather is set fair. Sunday, I gather, might be a little snowy or sleety for the final runs of the two-man race. I was talking to Ralph, the legendary Ice Meister, here this morning, as he was getting the floor polisher out on the track. Not literally, perhaps, but this place is always like glass for races.
Last year, World Championships in Whistler. Wow, what a race. You know, the Olympic champion, Mariana Jamanka. Well, she's a pretty consistent driver, and this is the high-speed Ice Canal out in Western Canada. She comes down, she's got a medal, and the German coaches are there just say, wow, she's down, she's through, her season's over. She walked away with a gold medal. Look at that. I mean, it's they backed it up. Never won a race, won the Olympic gold medal.
Yep.
Year later, won the World Championship.
Yep.
She backed it up.
Yeah, she hadn't won a World Cup race at any stage before the Olympic gold medal. And then everybody started saying, okay, so when are you going to win a World Cup race? Well, she went out and won the very first one of the season, and then could barely stop winning.
Martin, we remember about 5 years ago when the Germans brought her out because another German athlete was hurt, and it's all they had was her, and oh, she'll never mean anything.
Well,
but
she looked pretty good.
But this was the end of the cycle for the big three, including Sandra Kyriasis, who in 2008 with Romy Loesch. Boy, there's a story about these two. They didn't end up doing the Olympics together. Anyways, Kyriasis, who was the dominant slider, gold medalist in 2006, gold medal here in 2008. She was the dominant slider in that quadrennial. She walked away with the gold medal here. A convincing win. Yeah. Wasn't by a, was by a lot.
Well, she's the benchmark really still for women's bobsleigh. She's still got more medals than anybody else. Kaylee Humphries is coming up hard on the rails behind her. Boy, there, Kaylee is
Do
really,
the medals
really
count when you got it from different countries, or they just count?
I guess if they hang them around your neck, they count.
They count.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay, write that down then.
I can't imagine they wouldn't. Well, here's a great look at the underside of the sled. It's as smooth and polished for aerodynamics as any race car, and you just saw back there the teeth of the brakes. Now, you don't brake on the track anymore these days. You only brake at the finish.
The axles,
you see,
look at those axles.
The brakes are there in that little slot, and it's basically like a garden rake. You pull on the handles, they're little articulation, and it digs in and slows you down. Sophistication is not part of the story with bobsleigh. They try and keep the sleds as simple as possible. They're still steered with cables, just like an old soapbox cart.
So the wait is over.
Oh, yeah. All right, we are ready to go then. A little bit delayed by the crash of our Italian athletes, but now it is the time for Stephanie Schneider, our silver medalist from last year, our World Cup champion, the Dresden girl, and behind her from Cologne, missing the Cologne Carnival again, which kills her, her brakewoman Leonie Fiebig. Phoebe came into the World Cup squad last year and very quickly has become their #1 choice for Stephanie Schneider.
Only one time in the season, 8 races, this World Cup champion was off the podium. She had a 5th place, ironically, on probably the easiest track on tour.
Yeah.
She was the 5th. So
Well, there's Leonie in her red and white cologne-coloured socks. She always wears them on race day. Stephanie Schneider, the driver, 29 years old.
Former a thrower from track and field.
And Leonie is studying for a master's degree in sports science at the University of Cologne, so far too clever for us.
Good technique by the brakeman. While she looks up there, I'm surprised at that. Usually just look at that, arms come down. Ooh, 5.63. Speed, huge. Keep your eyes on that speed, especially the velocity on the exit of curve 1. That relates to how the athletes get in the sled with cat-like movements.
Straight as an arrow from turn 1. No drama so far for Stephanie Schneider. 3,200s up. This is not about the sleds that have gone before. They're from outside the top 15.
She's the rabbit. She's the real first competitive sled. And if she doesn't win a medal, I'll be very surprised. Now watch the sled dip up here at the end. There it is. The exit clean. Oh, on the wrong side. Oh, she got away with that.
Little late.
And here's safe.
Top speed all the way down is still Yingqing of China.
4.43 She hasn't picked up a lot of time on the bottom. 5,700s lead, kilometers, best speed all the way down. You know, Martin, we're going to find out pretty quick because a couple ladies coming up in the next 2 sleds will find out how good a run that was.
You just saw Lisette Turner at the top of the track, finished her career last weekend in Sigulda. There's Leonie Fiebig with her driver, Stephanie Schneider, the local heroine. So 56.50, track record is a 56.22.
Okay, now let's look at these pictures on the exit. Smooth, look at the head transition. This is the climb. This is the crossover. She hits the take on too early. Look at the back runner, it was in the air. That was close.
Yep.
That was close. They call that curve, that little 2-corner combination, the snake, for good reason.
Yeah, body language there shows that she's not content, and she might not be, because in her 9th World Championships as a driver, Kaylee Humphries of the USA, the 34-year-old with Lauren Gibbs behind her, and this is the US's killer combination. 2 golds, 2 silvers, and 1 bronze in the World Championships alone. A double Olympic champion as well, Kaylee Humphries.
Lauren Gibbs, the veteran brakeman, teamed up with Alana Myers for the silver medal at the last games. Start, they got to stay close, dead to the 100th. Speed, best velocity out of curve 1. I think the last 4 races on this track, she's won them all.
Well, she didn't win last year, she wasn't competing, but the last 3 that she has, yep, she's won them all.
Red numbers, dead heat.
This is going to be very close. Gets nudged away a little, no dramas.
Curve 9, exit, look at the runner tips. That's as good as you can do. 300s lead, best speed. Watch the sled at the end here, right here. Little climb, shoot out of there. Oh, she's nice right down the middle. No problems at 11-12. Big right there, there's a problem.
Gap's not so big. Thought she would have extended the margin. Long skid past our window.
Here too. A lot of steering right there to get out of that mistake.
Hits the wall. This is going to be very close to a dead heat at the line. She's 300s in front. Okay, here we go.
A lot of time there on the exit of 14. She got in too high on 13.
Yep.
A little bit like that Italian sled, but not as bad as what happened to the Italians. But the mistake she made in 13, look at her. No, well, she's going to beat herself up for that.
But her and Stephanie Schneider both, they're both going, darn it. The track, I guarantee, is different today than it was yesterday. It always is different on race day. It's faster than ever.
Right here, this is, look at the mistake on the way into 13, which causes her to steer really hard, low, crosses over, late, climbs high in 14. Now watch the rudder tips. Now she's in trouble. She could have a little bit farther, she would have been tipped over on the exit. Now she's, look at her, she's trying to struggle. She knows she can't gain control.
And that's uphill past our commentary position. So Kaylee Humphries is the leader from Stephanie Schneider. Next up, though, is our Olympic and world champion, Mariama Jamanka. Well, Jamanka, this is her 4th World Championships now. She won the race here last season as well, ahead of Christine de Bruin and Alana Myers-Taylor.
Should be better than 63.
And she's
66, surprised at that.
Annie Dratzek behind her. She is the #1 German call for brake women.
I'm surprised they weren't better, though, at the start. than the previous two sleds. Tap there. Watch that right hand part of the track here. A little early there out of the exit of the Omega curve.
Well, that's 2 taps already. She's a 10th back. She hasn't even got down to corner 9.
She could still be clean in the bottom and catch those 2 sleds.
Wasn't clean off 9.
Clean there either. She's way back.
Late.
Way back. 2/10 back, speed off the mark by 2 kilometers. That's that little normal
Gets
technique.
it down.
3,300's back. Boy, this is she lost all her time up top. The exit of curve 4. That little tap before curve 2 or curve 3.
She is giving herself a mountain to climb. She's clean at the bottom, so the gap shouldn't grow by much.
Wow, that's
3,900. That is a mountain to climb.
It's an eternity of time on the competitive top sleds. And her mistakes weren't on the bottom like we saw with Kaylee Humphries. Her mistakes up top where it's crucial to accelerate and not bang around when the speeds are slow.
Her brakewoman, Annie Dradzek, has done 3 World Championships. She's had 2 golds and a silver. She is not used to being off the podium.
Here's the scene up top. Little tap there on that take-on. Now watch here. Watch the right side of your screen. Before the take-on, that throws you in the middle. That forces you to steer more. You steer, you slow yourself down. Here's the exit of 9, and this wasn't clean. Remember, both the previous 2 sleds were right down the middle. And she's got a skid there.
Yeah, breaks into a skid coming down into the Kreisel.
3 more heats to go.
Yeah,
can't count her out, especially on this track.
I'm looking forward to somebody coming down with a smile on their face because they think they've had a good run.
This is the track that's too tough to tame.
All right, what about our bronze medalists from Whistler? Christine de Bruin and Kristen Bujnovsky. Let's see what they can produce for Canada.
Got to stay close. You know, high 60s, 67, 68, the great 72. Now they got to be perfect, especially up here with the speeds are a little slow. That's great, both straightaways. Watch the right side, see if she taps on the take-on here. Little bit.
Cleaner, 4th World Championships appearance for Christine de Bruin. Finished 3rd in the World Cup rankings behind Schneider and Jamanka. A little hung up late out of 9.
Recovered pretty good. Speed, a couple kilometers off though. Ooh, a lot of pressure there.
Already a 10th ahead of Jamanka. She gets to the Kreisel. She's holding on in 2nd place on the splits. Oh, there's the skid she didn't need.
Looks like a 3rd spot. She's going to be ahead of Jamanka.
She is going to be ahead of Jamanka by...
That's not bad. She came back on the bottom.
That's what she's been doing all season. She's in the hunt is exactly right from the coaches.
Especially with the mistake out of 14, Mark. She skidded on the 4. What would she have done if she was clean on the exit of 14?
We got 2 North American sleds in the top 3. We've had 2 of our 3 Germans down already.
And she
lost... what now?
She lost by 900ths at the start.
Listen to that. They are liking that.
They're 900ths down at the start and only 13 at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's Christina de Bruin. She's got a fast sled. Here wasn't perfect on the exit of 9, but she didn't try and steer away from trouble. A little drift.
Didn't
but
skid.
Clean. She's going to get on here. The Kreisel. Looks like a couple pressures. 1.
Yep.
2, that got high.
But if you get the late height at the end,
right here,
you don't have a major issue because you get the 3rd wave to take you off.
And then this is down the exit of 14.
Yeah.
Gee, where would she have been?
She could have been 500s off. Okay, next up with our leader, Kaylee Humphries, is Russia's Nadezhda Sergeeva, our newly crowned European champion. 25-year-old rookie brakewoman Elena Mamedova in her 1st season this year.
She's coming off a win last week, her first ever in Segolda. 73 start. Now she's sentenced to have a perfect run to put herself on the top 3. And Martin, remember the World Championships a few years ago in Koenigsegg? Great hopes for this athlete in 2017, and she crashed out in the first run. And she's coming off now. What a confidence booster that must have been for her last weekend. Definitely.
She crashed out in the final heat in Whistler last year as well. So great exit out of corner 9. 4th fastest speed at the moment. This could be a top 4 run. This could put her ahead of Olympic and world champion Mariama Jamanka. That was high and late.
Watch out, late here too.
Backs it in.
Oh, she gets away with it. Now the straightaway, can she? Nope, see there's. Now watch what happens here. When you're going to that curve 15 and you've got to start steering hard, it's like putting a parachute out. like that speed.
All right, still fourth at the line, still ahead of Jamanka.
We've got 29, 32, 33. Those three sleds right there. In fact, third sled, no. Yeah.
What we're going to end up with is a top 5 that are relatively close, then a little gap, and then everyone.
Yeah,
and that's been the case every race all season long. 5 to 15 is like hundreds.
Can I ask you, has anybody come down the track clean?
No, but we were waiting for somebody to be happy. That was the Canadians.
Yeah, they were happy with that big skid out of 14.
Yeah. I don't think you get a clean run here. If you do, nobody sees you again. But again, gets nudged away there, Sergeeva, and that means she gets nudged away at the end as well. Knocked into a skid. The sled goes light over the brow there, past our window.
Yeah, that's an uphill section.
Yeah.
She knows it.
All right.
A lot of frustrations here.
Everybody's making mistakes. It's not if you get clean, it's if you make fewer mistakes. Next up, Laura Nolte. Sensational newcomer to the World Cup this year. 4 races, 1 win, 2 silvers, 1 bronze. Excuse me?
Yeah, she's 21 years old. She's the youngest driver in the field by a couple months.
And Kristen Strack behind her.
Good start, great start.
And Kristen was on Schneider's sled.
Big mistake there, though. Now she has to steer around curve 2.
Yeah.
So that 300s is probably going to go up to 12, 15.
Ooh.
Crossover.
Yeah, steered right in the middle of the corner there as well. The sled was going up too high.
Boy, for those mistakes she just made, this isn't bad.
All right, she is on as fat a runner as she can run. And this is what she's been doing all season.
18 back
she
speed,
can just live with the mistakes.
Speed. Let's see if she gets out of here okay. Oh, she taps on the cross.
But she didn't skid.
3/10 back.
Speed is not great, but she's still top 5.
Oh, boy, we've seen a lot of sleds exit 14 sideways like that.
Winterberg's her home track. This is not. She's in 6th position, and she is in 300s ahead of Yingqing of China.
That I wouldn't say.
That was not from the top draw of Laura Nolte performances.
Curve, well, remember, she crashed 2 days ago. You know?
Yep.
And so that was definitely some cobwebs to think about. But her mistake out of curve 1 to 2, that skid that was the worst line out of curve 1 to 2 we've seen yet.
As you say, just 21 years old, 5'10".
She's definitely the biggest lady in the field.
Yep.
Look at that skid out of curve 1 to 2. That's can't do that on this track. Here, again, watch it. Maybe we'll see the red flag in our right corner. Keeps it coming. There it is. There's that flag where they see that. You better get out. And wow.
That's now an official marker. That was once tied up there overnight by Harold Chudai, so he knew where he was going.
The '94 Olympic champion whose son just won the Youth Olympic Games championship at St. Moritz.
Olympic champion, son of an Olympic champion in the same sport.
And we were talking to him the other day. The kid's 17 years old. He acts like he's 25.
Beierl of Austria with Jennifer Onosanya behind her. European Championship bronze medalist last year, Beierl. She was 4th in Whistler.
She crashed in training. Another victim of the track that's too tough to tame. She says total pilot error on her mistake. Watch her on the exit here. Can she be clean? Right side. Not perfect, but better than most.
2200s back.
That's relative to her start, though. She keeps it within 2500s here. She has a chance getting that top 5. 33. Oh, bad lines in the Kreisel.
Not helping.
10th best speed.
Ooh.
She's a better driver than that.
8th fastest, but up to still 7th in the splits.
That's where she crashed. 14 in practice. That was one of the better lines of the exit of 14.
How close is she going to be to Germany's Laura Nolte? Laura is 7th. She's ahead.
6th.
She brought it back.
Yeah.
She sliced the deficit. 4th fastest at the bottom of the track. That's that Wolfgang Stanford massage of the sled again.
Well, she's a great driver. She proved that last year in Whistler. She's not happy with herself because of the mistakes up top, but down below, she had one of the better exits of 14 that we've seen, Martin. The last 5 sleds we've seen out of 14 have skidded sideways. This is out of 9. This wasn't perfect. This is what was responsible for her having the 10th best speed into this Kreisel.
Yep.
No mistakes allowed. I said there's gremlins all over the track.
Again, you could see the fat runner effect, the back of the sled just walking around behind her, wouldn't come straight.
That bang right there wasn't perfect.
Look at all the Swiss guys there watching at the side of the track. They'll be racing tomorrow. Beierl with lots to think about. There's a great view of the Kreisel. Kaylee Humphries leads Stephanie Schneider and Christine de Bruin ahead of Nadezhda Sergeeva in 4th. So we have had 10 sleds down in our field of 20. Next up for Switzerland, one of 2 Swiss sleds, Martina Fontana and Nadia Pasternak. Nadia, the 23-year-old, born in Dortmund in Germany, lives in Grenoble, France, slides for Switzerland. You think this isn't a multicultural team? Great Christoph Langen is their coach.
78, not a very good start, so she needs to be perfect. And Martina has had some good training heats this week. Good speed in the bottom part of the track, but she was a little inconsistent from one heat to the other. 3,400's back already. Martin, this looks, unless she finds the speed line down here, she's going to be 6/10 back.
This is going to be that 5 to 15 group. She gets a nice exit out of 9, good line into the Kreisel.
Watch the dip up here at the end. There, and now the exit.
Nice.
Bullet. Ooh, a little late, got away with it. Watch out here, watch out.
5th fastest speed.
Did you see that airborne runner?
Oh, lots of speed, and she controlled that well.
Sled was airborne on the entrance to 14. Close.
8th at the start, and she is 9th at the line.
Not a good run for Martina. When you have if she had a start time in the 60s, she can make a few mistakes, get in the top 5, but when you have a deficient start time, and then you have a bad drive line, that's why she's in
Nadia
right place.
Pasternak's helmet visor just got popped loose, so she's been slapped against the wall by one of those transitions, slapped against the side of the sled.
Yes, this is like riding a roller coaster, but it's got a little, look at that, how high she took, 11, 12. Now watch the mistake here, watch the sled skid. Now she's in the danger zone into 13, late into 13. Remember the Italian sled, watch the back right runner here. Airborne, almost rolled in.
Guarantee that's where the visor got popped off the brake woman's head. Yeah.
So close, inches.
She knew she was in trouble, didn't she? She saved it. Great job by Martina Fontanev. You've got to have very quick reactions in the next run. Well, I got 3 more potentially. Next up, Andrea Greco of Romania. 6th World Championships for her. She did 4 as a brake woman. This is her 2nd as a driver.
That starts last week when she got 2nd.
Yeah, silver medal last weekend. And
wow,
5.75.
What happened there? They had the best starts last week. What happened here? Surprised at that.
Kaylee Humphries wasn't there, but she was about the only leading light that wasn't.
No, but she was better than Schneider and everybody. Yep. And she was like that in training all week. Something would happen up there at the start.
22-year-old brakewoman Yana Georgiou only started racing in November.
Notice she's sitting very high above the challenge.
She is about as tall as Lara Nolte.
Yeah.
2800's back though.
Ooh, that's high.
Oh, she's gone. And that is a long, hard ride for the crew, I'm afraid.
This is a tough pictures to watch.
Yeah. And Andrea trying to hold herself in under the cowl. As she comes past us, she's going to go past the low point of the track. The medical workers are there.
As she comes through and down, she'll get a finish time. She'll have a choice to come back down.
Well, here in Sigulda, they would have had track workers right there with hooks to stop the sled sliding all the way back down, because that can do just as much damage.
Lake Placid, they got a guy with the hook standing there.
So I'm kind of surprised to see that there isn't anybody down there.
Well, there's enough action on this track for them to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
you just want to try and avoid the athletes getting any more injured. You can end up with really quite severe ice burns just from the friction. The single layer of Lycra doesn't really offer much protection. Some athletes wear Burns vests, not all of them do.
One more pass.
Yeah. And it'll be down to walking pace by the time it gets back to that platform next time.
So unfortunate for this young Romanian team that won a silver medal last week.
Late
Sigulda, late height there, yeah. Then she comes back down, then she's going to go back up on the outlet. Watch her come way up the top right side of our picture. Oh.
She needed to try and hold it up, but centrifugal force just dropped the sled down.
She had the fastest heat in training, the first heat yesterday. Something wrong, even at the start. I was surprised she's that far. The sled almost came back.
Almost came back up, but instead, yeah. Well, if you cross the timing line with both athletes in the sled or in the 4-man all 4, then you can go again. And if they're healthy to do so, I'm sure they will want to. Nobody wants to walk away from a track having just crashed.
I got to tell the story, Martin. I was going to wait for the second heat, but she told me that last week it was the European Championship.
Yep.
She finished silver. It was the first Romanian medal we had seen decades. I said, congratulations, and she was a little sad, and I go, what happened? What do you mean? She goes, if I would have won gold, I would have had 600 euros a month the rest of my life.
Wow.
If you win the European Championships, if you win the World Championships, you get a per-life contract. Now, the Romanians...
You know how far off that gold she was?
200ths.
200ths of a second.
And then I also heard last night that the Romanian coaches that were responsible the World Championships or the Junior Olympics, both those coaches got rewarded with a big financial contract for that.
Yeah, because the Romanian kid tied for the gold medal, didn't he?
With Alex Choda.
With Alex Choda, exactly right. So, yeah, it was very, very close. She was thrilled to get her first ever medal in the World Cup race, thrilled to get silver medal in the Europeans, but nobody's thrilled when they don't get gold by 200s, and it was so close. Now, here's the story developing. Sarah Ertz there, in the white jacket, sitting on the wall, was due to be starting in Anne van Nieuwenhuis's sled. She is not now starting. The spare athlete, Kelly van Petegem, is. There you can see Jennifer Onosanya and driver from Austria, Katrin Beierl there, back up at the top of the track. There's the sled doc waiting to take the sleds away.
Janins Minins.
Yeah, was chatting to him about the Chinese girls this morning, and he was saying, we just want 8 heats out of the 2 sleds. That's our only target. Get used to this, get it down,
they were here,
get it done.
They were here in November. They were here again for the training week.
He was saying in November they took about 30 trips, mostly from the junior start. We're not going to terrify them from the beginning. It's exactly what Pierre Luder said when they went pre-season to Sigulda. Do about 40 trips from the junior start.
Let's go through this list. Who crashed this week? Chinese did not. The Russians did. Italians did. Germans did. USA did. Canada, did Bruin crash? No,
don't think so.
Don't think so. Austria crashed.
Yep.
Romania, I don't think she crashed, but she just crashed then.
I don't think she did.
Swiss, yes, they crashed once. Belgian and Van Hoos. So
and crashed.
Great Britain did.
Don't think so.
So the only three countries out of the.
Bree Walker, the Aussie, crashed. Kim Kalicki crashed.
The Italians both crashed. The Polish girl did not crash.
No.
The brand new Polish team that's coming up did not crash. Here's our dartfish that shows the lines. Now watch, look at Kelly Humphries' line compared to the Romanian team line. The up and down, up and down. Wow.
Matthias Höpfner there watching. He knows.
He's standing below.
He knows exactly what's happening there. When you see that high third pressure and she's bringing the sled down. And in fact, when you saw them rolling off the exit of the Kreisel, right there were all the Swiss guys. I saw Simon Friedli, who crashed here as well, crashed last weekend. Yeah, everybody's well aware of the potential danger in the Kreisel. When you get it right, it can be a pussycat. When you don't get it right, it can be a very malevolent animal indeed. So the track workers will again be checking their own little bits of the track from the Kreisel on down to make sure there aren't too many gouges in the ice. That's Kelly van Petegem. Coach Tom Delahunty there will be informed by the jury when they are ready to go. They'll get a 2-minute warning, 4 minutes. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So and there is Anne van Nieuwenhuis.
Going through her mental preparation.
Been coaching us all season long from your seat, John, the co-driver's seat, teaching us how to drive bobsleigh, what we should be looking at.
Well, you know, you can't find a better analyst than an athlete who's driving the track. Absolutely. Here's our standings.
Well, look how close it's going to be. Those top 5, 3900ths, a third of a second or so, one heat in. If we see a little turnaround in the second heat, I think at the moment those are likely to be your medals. But from 6 on down, it is going to be an absolute brawl for positions. There's going to be a few
Kalecki girl coming yet for Germany.
Yep.
I think she's going to get in that top 5 because I was watching her all week in training.
She could indeed. Kim Kalecki made her World Cup debut in Lake Placid, got a silver and a bronze, and then didn't win out in the German selection races, which were here, which again is not her home track, and so we didn't see her again in the World Cup all year long, but she is here as a 4th German sled because she has just won with Kira Lippert, her brakewoman, the Junior World Championships, and the Junior World Champion in every discipline gets a free pass to come and race in the World Championships.
Here's how they transport the sleds back to the top.
No chair lifts.
There used to be one here.
Yeah.
1987, right here. You could go right up.
Oh,
they would,
can you imagine?
No, it was pretty cool.
Right, nice.
2 sleds at a time, go right up a tramp. Now see that Ideal sponsorship? I was watching Andre Langer come down the track with 5 Chinese drivers, and he had a laser. I'd never seen it. And he was using a laser to point the line where the Chinese athletes should go from a long ways away. And he's communicating through a translator, you know, the famous 4-time Olympic champion now coaching. And Martin, I see a lot. I know a lot about the sport. First time I ever saw a laser being used to train the athletes. And so when I asked Andre about it, I said whose idea it was. He said it was Pierre Luder's.
There you go.
His idea.
And you know, you think of Pierre Luder's as being properly old school with the goggles and everything. No. Well, you know, iPads now are used, aren't they, extensively. Every corner has got a coach with an iPad filming the lines. You've got special apps that you can use to slow them down and analyze it frame by frame almost. So any technology you can use to help the athletes is all the better. Ready to get our Women's Bobsleigh World Championships back underway here at Altenberg in Germany. Heat 1 of 4 at the German track Too Tough to Tame. We are now in our second hold for a crash sled after Romania's Anja Grecu tipped over out of the legendary Kreisel, and about to get back underway with Anne van Nieuwenhuis of Belgium and a late replacement in the back of the sled, Kelly van Pettigem, who made her World Cup debut last weekend in Sigulda, Latvia. Number 1 brakewoman Sarah Ertz with a thigh strain is not going to go today.
Sarah was the only person in the field who competed in the Summer and Winter Olympics. Summer Olympics in heptathlete in 2012. Then in Pyeongchang as the brakeman for Anne here.
Well, now, this can throw in a bit of a problem for the coaches because they weigh the sled and the athletes and they try and get the sled as close as humanly possible to maximum weight. If you substitute in a brakewoman or a brakeman who is a different weight, you have to be very aware that you might have to take weight out of the sled. It's unlikely you'll rush to put weight in, but you've got to make sure you're not overweight.
Well, we all know Anne can drive.
Yep, and this is a track that should suit her well. The more corners there are, the harder they are, the more she'll like it.
She's a big Disney fan. Her favorite movie is Frozen. Pretty appropriate.
Yep. Well, she took the silver medal in the Europa Cup race here in December.
And Kelly went with her both runs yesterday. Sarah sat it out. Maybe that was an inclination. I don't know what the boy, Anne just ran a long ways.
Yeah, 5:96. She's trying to give herself every opportunity to compete.
She needs the perfect run just to get in the top 8 or 9. But she's got the eyes and hands.
Yep.
Exit here. Pretty good.
Well, this
5 back.
This sled called Spanky is the original BTC 2-man sled. This is the original prototype of all the customer sleds that they've sold ever since. 6/10 back, 8th fastest into the Kreisel.
Not bad for that negligible start time.
Great exit.
Good lines there. 68
Nice.
back. She stopped the bleeding.
Fifth fastest speed. Now we see the speed rise. This sled can fly.
One of the better lines of the exit of 14 we've seen.
This could be top 9, top 8. How close will she be at the line?
duck
Ducks
her
ahead.
head.
Ninth place at the line.
She was 55 hundredths back at curve 9. Only bled 14 hundredths more to the finish. Great lines. If she had a start time, she'd be up there.
She was 33 hundredths back at the start. She was only 69 at the bottom. That is a great drive from Anne van Nieuwenhuis.
Well, this track fits her persona. Great
Yep.
driver, been around a long time. Start deficiency, pretty tough to overcome. She ran a long ways though, Martin.
Yep.
If you look, I don't see any other spike marks there. I think the people were in where that painted line is. I don't know if that was a strategy, but the lines down the track, Martin, she flopped it a little bit here, but watch how straight this sled comes in. And with the negligible start time, she's still at a top 8 speed. Right here on the crossover on the snake. Helmet, look how low she is. That's
All right.
textbook.
Good first run from Anne van Nieuwenhuis, and if others flake, and there will be others who flake, she will move up the order. Finished 8th last year. Now this is Ming from China, 24 years old, second world championship. She too raced in Whistler last season, and she's got Lu Chunyang behind her.
13th in Whistler. Not a bad start. You know, again, something on the back of the sled. There's something coming out of the... Something caught my attention.
Well, Lou, her brakewoman, has only done 10 bobsled races. She did the Junior Worlds last year, but this is only her second season.
Again, they're coached by Pierre Luters, 1 gold medal in '98, and Andre Longa, gold medal in 2002, 2 more in 2006. So over a 4 Olympic quadrennial, 8 gold medals. The Chinese coaches won 5 of them. That's a pretty good coaching package right there.
10th fastest start. They're 11th on the split times at the moment, but the speed is decent.
She got away with that tap
Yeah.
before 13. That puts me on the edge of my seat.
Again, these Chinese sleds are on thinner runners. They give you more control. They're not great for top speed.
It's not about, they're not worried about top speed.
She's got down, and Tania Vicenzino and Angia Grecu did not.
I'm betting right now that the Chinese win a medal in sliding, bobsliding, and maybe skeleton too.
Yeah.
By the time we get to Beijing.
They are going to be hunting for bear by the time we get to Beijing
Again, they're
in
one
2
of the
years.
3 countries that haven't crashed here this week, and they've got 2 sleds in the women, 3 in the men, or 2 and 2.
Y finished in 10th in Whistler last year. There's Kaylee Humphries with the blue sled, our leader.
Look at the lines.
And you can see how her line helps her just creep away a little from the Chinese sled. Almost another half a sled length there, because she was using a slightly shorter line through the Kreisel. And again, the narrower runners dig into the ice more, cause a little more friction. Next up is Misha McNeill of Great Britain, 6th World Championships for her. She's also done a couple of Junior Worlds. She was the Junior World Champion in 2017, Youth Olympic medalist back in 2012, and 33-year-old sprinter from Catford, Montel Douglas behind her. Well, this is a really strong track for Mish. She led the World Cup race after the first heat last year, ended up in 4th. She raced here in the Europa Cup in December as well. This is one of her favorite tracks.
Let's see if she can get around this curve on the right side. Check it out. Not bad. Look how low she is, Martin.
Well, she's low when she stood up, though, John.
Still,
she
got
doesn't
her eyes barely above the
way up.
belly.
Okay, little late flop out of corner 9, but good run down the straightaway, and she's rewarded with the 8th fastest speed.
13th best start. She's got it down to a top 9 right now.
6th fastest speed. She is really picking up speed.
Good line. Exit here. She's clean here. She could really move up.
And she is clean. She's been coached by Sean Olsen, the 98 Olympic bronze medalist in 4-man. This is a good run. Misha McNeill's in the hunt in 5th.
Wow.
There's the reaction from Sean Olsen.
The clean lines all the way down the track, but especially out of curve 14. Boy, that's how to do it right there. And obviously, this is a favorite track of hers.
Yep, very much so. Very much so. So Misha McNeill opens her account with a big run.
This is up there, a little bit of a tap on that take on. Look how low she is there in her exit of the curve there. This is the same pictures, same exit at a 9.
No tap, just gets eased away.
Look at her lean, look at her trying to lean away from the wall without steering.
That's another trick, just nudge the cowl with your shoulder, move the sled.
If she had a start, she'd be the leader.
Great trip from Misha McNeill of Great Britain. She's 5th behind Nadezhda Sergeeva, Christine de Bruin, Stephanie Schneider, and our leader, Kaylee Humphries. 15 sleds down, 5 to go, and here in their first World Championship, Melanie Hassler and brakewoman Jasmin Neff of Switzerland. Oh, and Hassler can't get in, but luckily corner 1 is a long way away. Well, 5.87, 300 slower than Misha McNeill, who just came down in 5th. These girls made their World Cup debut just a couple of weeks ago.
In 12th place.
Yeah. Ooh, 21-year-old getting rocketed around here. She's getting nudged away everywhere up top. She needs to get it back under control.
This is just about making it to the bottom, Mark.
Yep.
That's all she cares about, her first World Championships. Let's see some height right there is pretty good.
Brakewoman Jasmin made her sliding debut here in December in the Europa Cup. So talk about in off the high board.
These are good lines here. Yeah, she's way off the pace. Doesn't matter.
Oh, and a big hit. And that is taking your foot off the gas in a big way. That will have rattled her fillings.
It's okay. Made
Chris
it down.
Woolley there at the bottom.
Made it down.
Yeah.
World Championship debut on a track that's...
And you saw Peter Ramseidel in the right-hand side of the shot. Peter was up until midnight Saturday night in Sigulda, welding up the sled after they had a big crash on Saturday. Sled was fine in the end. Girls were fine in the beginning. They went back and raced again on Sunday.
Bang. Here, that wasn't bad in that exit. That's his Omega, comes over, hits the take on too hard. That erases time. This is a great line here, Martin. She might tap. She taps there. That's why she comes into 15 and comes in late and has to bang hard in the exit. That little tap forced her out of the sequence in the straightaway.
There she is, Melanie Hassler, volleyball player turned bobsled driver. Raced in the European Championships last weekend, her first major race. And from here on in, it's all debutants in the World Championships. This is Australia's Bree Walker with Stephanie Preisker. Preisker in her day job from Sydney. She's a New South Wales fire and rescue worker.
Walker's a 400-meter hurdler.
Did the Junior Worlds in 2018. She raced here in Europa Cup as well in December. Likes this track. She did have a crash in training, 5.82 getaway.
Father's here. Met the father the other day. Talked a little rugby with him. Bang. Ooh, that's not good on the exit of that 3-4 combination to tap on that take on.
Bria spent most of her career so far sliding in Europe, so she does know Altenberg well.
Boy, that was late. She got away with that.
Yep.
Let's see her high height here. Ooh, that's not good. I don't like this. She gets away with that. But now we got the snake curve. How about the back end? She's good here.
Yep. Got a bit of height, but that's a good exit.
Good exit there in the bottom.
The speed.
Speed's pretty good.
Get down. That's the key for today. Finish the trips.
World Championship.
There you go. Across the line in 14.
Okay.
Sandra Kroll on the left, former German driver who's coaching the Aussies this season.
A deep breath.
Yeah.
Through, down, one down. This is where it's a lady against the mountain type thing.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, I don't care what my time is. Get to the bottom.
Yep. There's a couple of little heart-in-the-mouth moments. There's her boyfriend, Christopher Hammers, slides for the German team.
This is the exit of 9.
Yeah, brings it down early.
Airborne.
Centrifugal force pushes her up late.
But she corrected. She didn't try and steer away from that. Boy, you got to be pretty brave not to steer on the exit of curve 9 like that.
Got to be pretty brave to go off the top of Altenberg, period, haven't you?
Yeah. Look at this. Same thing down to the Kreisel. I didn't like the line in Kreisel.
Yeah.
Too
got
late.
away with it.
Yeah.
So, big thumbs up to her dad. Is it her brother who's here as well this weekend?
Yeah. Dad and brother.
Nice trip for them. Okay, now Germany's fourth big hope, our reigning junior world champions, Kim Kalicki and Kyra Lipperheider.
You might recognize this name from the first two events of the season that were in Lake Placid. She won a bronze and a silver medal.
And look at the start, 5:66, 300s off the lead.
But then she lost out on the German tryouts, the competition at Christmas time, and got relegated to the Europa Cup Tour.
Because they were here, and that's a track she doesn't know well.
But she won the Junior World Championships, which gave her the ticket to this event.
Fourth place on the splits. This is Kim Kalicki trying to shoot for the medals.
This is one of my dark horses.
Yeah.
Only
now
1100s back, second best speed.
And third position on the split times as she gets to the Kreisel. She's going to be in the top three at the bottom.
1500s. Oh, watch out here, though. No, she gets through that little problem, and she's gonna hit out of 15.
Kalicki was saying, well, corner 9 is her
top
problem.
Three.
Here we go, third
top
at the line, or second, third at the line.
900s back, wow. Watch out for Kim Kalicki as this race continues to unfold.
As you said, John, 2 races in the World Cup in Lake Placid. She was on the podium in both.
The Germans got 4 great drivers. Maybe there's 3 or 4 more too, but this young athlete, watch out for her.
It's her senior world championship debut. She's done 5 junior worlds.
She's from Altenberg. This drift didn't help. If she didn't have that drift, Martin, she might be right there at the top, right at the curve 1 to 2. This wasn't as bad, because you're going at 70-mile-an-hour speeds. When you're only going 20 miles an hour, you're skidding.
Mind you, she's only 900ths of a second back. Yeah, you know, that could have been second or maybe right behind Kaylee Humphries. Kaylee Humphries leads from Stephanie Schneider and Kim Kalicki. 2 more rookies to go. World Championship debutantes next up, Giada Andreucci and Silvia Tiny, appropriately named. The pocket rocket in the Italian team. Tiny 25-year-old sprinter from Brescia, and 25-year-old driver is from Udine, a former discus thrower.
Drivers from San Daniele, that's where they make Prosciutto.
Yeah, and it's only her second season on ice.
Had a tough training week. Listen to how loud that sled is.
It's one of the older Italian sleds. He was originally built for the 2014 World Olympics.
That's a good crossover from 3 to 4.
And again, these women lack absolutely nothing in bravery. Second year driving for Andreucci, and she looks like she's got lots of potential.
Watch out, wrong side of Kreisel going in. Second pressure point, that's too high. This is too high, and she gets through there.
Yep. Again, the speed is low. The start was the slowest we've seen, but
she's going to make it, though.
I think the deal here with the Italians is get down.
Unlike her teammate, she's going to make it down. And again, the Italian ladies had a rough week of training.
And of course, if you get 2 trips today, you can use different runners tomorrow. There's Mani Mahata.
Wow, they're just, hey, down, just get down.
The other coach there, Maurizio Oioli, used to compete for Italy in skeleton.
And he was good.
Yeah, he was.
He was good.
He was just on the... Yeah. Just on the wrong side of an injury when he got to his final Olympic quad. So Giada Andreucci and Silvia Tiny are down and safe.
The skid up here, exit of 1. That, you know, whatever she does is irrelevant down the track as much as just finishing.
Yep.
Just finish. This second high, now she goes back up too high again. I got worried because we're going to see the red flag, and right there, well, she got out of that red flag. This is out of 14.
Janis Minis was telling me if you see the high second pressure, but it's a long way round, they're good, because the third pressure isn't going to get you late. So she got the pressure where she needed. Giada Andreucci.
Happy to be down.
And she was our 19th sled. Our 20th sled is from Poland. This is Sylwia Smolarek and Aleksandra Bukowska. Now, they haven't even started a World Cup race yet.
The brakeman's 19, the youngest athlete in the field.
It's her first season. She started on ice in November. Her driver in only her second season. But she's done the Junior Worlds last year and this.
A lot of athletes are track and field athletes. Brakeman's a triple jumper.
And And Sylvia, the driver, has only done a dozen races, 6:35 start.
Besides being the youngest athletes, these two are definitely the smallest in the field.
Yeah.
The two of them combined, meaning they're pushing a very heavy sled, but it's not about anything else other than finishing the run. That's not going to help.
Well, again, like the Italians, I'm not sure I can remember seeing a Polish women's sled in bobsled at World Cup level. Certainly we had men.
Great to see them.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, now let's see if we can get through the crowd zone. High second pressure point, come on up for the third one.
Nice late height, and she's down and smoothly down the straight.
A lot of head movement there.
Yeah.
Get through here. Watch out!
Whoa, and
she
hangs
there
on.
late.
Well, she is out of the danger zones.
Yeah, it's
and
gonna make it
safely
again.
to the line. Across the line she comes.
She had 6 practice trips without a crash in training. She just got another trip there.
Well, listen, even Kaylee Humphries got down ugly on this track. There is no beautifying it, I don't think. It's always a wrestle, and she is 18th out of 20 sleds.
She's at the bottom.
Yeah.
World Championship debut for Polish women.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever seen a Polish women's sled.
I can't think. I can't think of one. We'd have to go back a lot further than I've gone back to try and find one.
I got a media guide from 2008. You want me to look in there?
They're not in there, that's for sure. Well, that was rocking and rolling early on, and it was a pretty rough ride all the way down.
Yeah, here at 14, she climbs the lip there. I was worried she's going to come down on the outlet and tip over there.
She
got
was
away
too.
with it.
She hauled it off.
Look how low she is, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Well, that's the crazy roller coaster smile, isn't it? When you get down this place, you have a smile on your face, unless you are a perfectionist like Kaylee Humphries, who had a bit of a frown. It wasn't the perfect run, John, but she is our race leader after first of 4 heats.
Yeah, she made the mistake out of curve 14. The rest of the trip was Kaylee Humphries' norm. She's won on this track the last 3 times there, but that mistake there cost her about 10-15 hundredths. It's a race. It's close.
The last race that she was in here that she didn't take a medal was back in 2011. Kaylee Humphries leads from Stephanie Schneider and Kim Kalicki. Christine de Bruin not out of it. Nadezhda Sergeeva, Misha McNeill, Jamanka, look at them to try and move up as well. And Katy Beierl in 8th, heading the snarling pack. 18 sleds down safely, a crash for Tanya Vicenzino and for Angia Grecu. We saw the Italians up and about. Hopefully the Romanians are okay as well after their spill on this tough Altenberg track. We'll be back with our second heat in just 20 minutes. 15:30 Central European time, 14:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew for the second heat in 20 minutes from now.